Daf Yomi, Tractate Horayot, page 13a, top of the page, with the words Par Kohen Meshuach, Upar Eda. Those are the words of the Mishnah. Kulo means etc. V'nohani mili de Tanarbat and V'saravas, Lokashir Saravas, Apar Harishon. Ma Tamalav Harishon, Shi Harishon, Kodem, Par Eda, Bechol Mazav. The Mishnah teaches if the bull of the anointed priest and the bull of the congregation, which are brought for absence of awareness of the matter, are pending, the bull of the anointed priest precedes the bull of the congregation in all its actions. The Gemara asks, from where are these matters derived? It is as the sages taught, and he shall burn it as he burned the first bull. Leviticus 4:21. Why must the verse state the first? The verse could simply state that he shall burn it as he burned the bull. It is in order to establish that the first offering precedes the bull of the congregation in all its actions. Tanrabanan, par Mashiach, par Eda, omdim par Kohen Mashiach, Kodem, לפר העדה בכל מעזב. או עדה משיח מכפר, ועדה מתחפרת. דין הוא שיקדים המכפר למתכפר. וכן הוא אומר, וכיפר ועדו ביתו ועד כל קהל ישראל. The sages taught in Braita, if the bull of the anointed priest and the bull of the congregation are pending, the bull of the anointed priest precedes the bull of the congregation in all its actions. Since the anointed priest atones for the entire Jewish people, and the congregation gains atonement, it is logical that the one who atones will precede the one who gains atonement. And so the verse states, and he shall atone for himself, and for his household, and for all the congregation of Israel. Leviticus 16:17. Par hedem davar של ציבור קודם לפר של עבודה זרה, מהי טיימה? היי חטאת והי עולה ותניא. ויקריב את אשר חטאת ראשונה. מה תמו לומר? אם ללמד שתי חטאת ראשונה, הרי כבר נאמר, ואת השני יעשה עולה כמשפט. אלא זה בנאיו. שירו כל חטאות קודמות לעולות הבאים עמהן וקיים עלן דאפילו חטאת העוף קודמת לעולת בהמה. The Braita continues, a bull for an unwitting communal sin precedes a bull for idol worship. What is the reason for this halacha? This, meaning the bull for an unwitting communal sin, is a sin offering, and that, meaning the bull for idol worship, is a burnt offering, and it is taught in a Braita. And he shall sacrifice that which is for the sin offering first. Leviticus 5:8. Why must the verse state this? If it is to teach that the sin offering will be first, it is already stated, and the second he shall prepare as a burnt offering according to the ordinance. Leviticus 5:10. Rather, this established a paradigm from which all similar cases may be derived, teaching that all sin offerings precede the burnt offerings that accompany them, and we maintain that even bird sin offerings precede animal burnt offerings. חטאת עבודה זרה חסירה א' לחטאת כתיב ואמר כמשפט כתיב ב'. A bull for idol worship brought by the entire congregation precedes a goat for idol worship brought by the entire congregation. The Gemara asks, why is this so? This, meaning the goat is a sin offering, and that, meaning the bull is a burnt offering. In the West, Eretz Yisrael, they say in the name of Rabba Bar Mari in the verse, if it is performed unwittingly by the congregation, being hidden from their eyes. The entire congregation shall bring one young bull for burnt offering, for a pleasing aroma to the Lord, with its meal offering and its libation according to the ordinance, and one goat as a sin offering. Numbers 15:24. Okay. The sin offering for idol worship is lacking an olive. Chatan is written without an olive. This indicates that not all the halachot of sin offerings apply to it. Rava said, according to the ordinance is written concerning it, indicating that the service must be performed in accordance with in order stated in the verse, meaning the bull is sacrificed before the goat. Sa'ir avodah zarah kodem sa'ir nasi ma'itay mahai tzibol bahai yachid sa'ir nasi kodem le'seirat yachid ma'itay mahai melech hai hediot. The goat, for idol worship, the congregation receives the goat and king. What is the reason for this? The reason is that this goat is brought by the general public, and that goat is brought by the individual, and the communal precedes the individual, even if that individual is the king. The male goat of the king precedes the female goat of the individual. What is the reason for this? This male goat is brought by a king, and that female goat is brought by a commoner. Siras Yachid Kodemet Nekiv Shas Yachid Hai Tanyo Kivshat Yachid Kodemet Lesirat Yachid Amar Abaye Tanai Mar Sofer Sira Adifa Sheken Itrabata Etz avodah zarah Yachid Mar Sofer Kivshat Adifa Shekain nitrabata be'aliyah. The female goat of an individual brought as a standard sin offering precedes the ewe of an individual brought as a standard sin offering. The Gemara asks, but isn't it taught in the Braita the ewe of an individual precedes the female goat of an individual? Abaye said it is a dispute between Tanaim. One sage holds that a female goat is preferable and takes precedence, as it has an increased applicability in that it is brought for idol worship by an individual, in which case one must bring a female goat, not a female sheep. And one sage holds that the ewe is preferable and takes precedence, as it has more sacrificial portions than a female goat, and as its tail is also included, which indicates that it is a preferable offering. Okay. See here. Omer kodim lekebeshabal imo. Shtei alechem kodim lekevasim boim imohem zeklal. Davar haba begin the yom kodem davar haba begin lechem. The Omer offering precedes a lamb that accompanies it, the 2 loaves, meaning the public offering on Shavuot on 2 loaves of bread from the new wheat, precede the sheep that accompany them. This is the principle. A matter that comes due to a mitzvah of the day precedes a matter that comes to the bread. Omer and 2 loaves and our meal offerings brought due to the day. The accompanying sheep are brought due to the meal offerings. And then we have the Mishnah. Okay. Let's gun it down. The Mishnah time. Let's go as fast as we can. The man precedes the woman when there is uncertainty with regard to which of them to rescue or to return lost item to first, and the woman precedes the man with regard to which of them to provide with a garment first, because her humiliation is great, or to release from captivity first due to the concern that she will be raped. When they are both subject to degradation, there is also the concern that the man will be raped in captivity. The release of the man precedes the release of the woman. Okay. Gemara. The Talmud says, היה וביאבי ורבא בשבי, הוא קודם לרבא ורבא קודם לאבי ואמו קודם לכולם. Apropos precedence, the sages taught in Braita, if one and his father and his teacher were in captivity, his release precedes his teachers because one's own life takes precedence. And his teacher's release precedes his father's release, his mother's release precedes the release of all of them. Chacham kodem melech Yisrael, Chacham shemeis ein lanu ki yotzebo. Melech Yisrael shemeis kol Yisrael ruim l'malchus. The Torah scholar precedes the king of Israel because in the case of a sage who dies, we have no one like him. But in the case of the king of Israel who dies, all of Israel are fit to be for royalty. I thought only King David, only from the house of Judah. No? Okay, whatever. Melech kodem l'kohen gadol. Shenehma v'yamir melech brackets says lahem kul imochem umeavdi brackets avdei adonechem v'gomer. A king precedes a high priest, as it stated. The king said to him, "Take with you the servants of your Lord." 1 Kings 1:33. King David is referring to himself as Lord when speaking to Zedek the priest. Kohen gadol kodem navi shenemar mashachata sham tzadok kohen v'natan navi הקדים צדוק לנתן, ואומר, שמע נא יהושע הכהן, ותול אתה רעיך, וגומר יכול הדיוטות היו, תלמוד למה, כי אנשי מופת המה, ואין מופת אלא נביא, שנאמר ונתן אליך, אותו מופת, the high priest precedes a prophet, as it is stated, and Zedek the priest and Nathan the prophet anointed him there. 1 Kings 1:34, Zedek is written for Natan. And similarly, the prophet says, "Hear now, Joshua the high priest, you and your colleagues who sit before you, for they are men that are a sign, and behold, I will bring forth my servant Zima." Zechariah 3:8. One might have thought that these colleagues were laymen. Therefore, the verse states, "For they are men that are a sign," and sign means nothing other than a prophet, as it stated, and it gives you a sign or a wonder. Deuteronomy 13:2. Mashuach b'shem mishkach v'adim meruva meruva v'gadim kodem l'Mashiach shavar machman kiryo Mashiach shavar machman kiryo kodem yavar machman mumo avar machman mumo kodem Mashuach milchama kodem l'skan. A high priest anointed with oil precedes the priest consecrated by donning multiple garments. A high priest consecrated by donning multiple garments precedes an anointed high priest who stepped down, even if he did so due to a seminal mission. An appointed high priest who stepped down to his seminal mission precedes an anointed high priest who stepped down to his blemish. An anointed high priest who stepped down due to the blemish precedes a priest anointed for a year, a priest anointed for a year for war. Priest anointed for war precedes the deputy high priest who replaces the high priest when he is unable to serve in the temple. Sagan Kohen le'amar kal. My amar kal. Amar kula. Amar kal kodem legizbar. Gizbar kodem lerosh mishmar. Rosh mishmar kodem lerosh beit av. Rosh beit av kodem lekohen hidyon. The Braita continues, a deputy high priest precedes the overseer and one of the 7 appointed officials in the temple. The Gemara asks, what is the meaning of Amar Kal? Because it said Amar Kal is an acronym for Amar Kula, meaning he says it all. The overseer of the temple has the final word in matters concerning the administration of the temple. The overseer precedes the temple treasurer. The treasurer precedes the head of the priestly watch. That was in the temple for a period of a week at a time. The head of the priestly watch precedes the head of the patrilineal family. Each patrilineal family performs the temple service for 1 day during the week of his priestly watch. The head of the patrilineal family precedes an ordinary priest. It was before sages with regard to the matter of ritual impurity when there is a corpse with no one to bury it, a mitzvah, which even a priest or Nazarite are commanded to be buried, and the deputy high priest and the priest anointed for war are available to bury. Which of them precedes the order becomes pure. Amar Marzutra. Amar Marzutra. Amar Marzutra. Berez Rab Nachman Tashma. Italians gonna be shown Machamash Machalakim. B'derech Bahem made mitzvah mutav shitamim b'shuach Machama. Be'ali Tamei Sgan She'im Yera Bo B'sul B'koin Gadol Nichnas Hasagan V'shayim Tachta V'tanya Shuach Machama Gadol V'asgan Amar Ravidam Kitanya Hi Lachyotom. Marzutra, son of Nachman, said, "Come and hear a resolution. As is taught in a Braita in the case of a deputy high priest and a priest anointed for war, who were walking along the path and they encountered a met mitzvah, and one of them must bury him and become ritually impure. It's preferable the priest anointed for war will become ritually impure, and the deputy high priest will not become ritually impure. The reason is that if this disqualification befalls the high priest, the deputy enters and performs a temple service in his stead. Therefore, one must ensure that to every possible extent that the deputy high priest remains ritually pure." The Gemara asks, "But isn't it taught in a Braita? A priest anointed for war precedes a deputy high priest." Ravina said, when that Braita is taught, it is not with regard to ritual purity, rather it is taught with regard to rescuing him, as the standing of the priest anointed for war is higher than that of the deputy high priest. That's the end. And now for the new Mishnah. Kohen kodem Levi Yisrael Mamzel u'Mamzel Nasin Gel v'Gel le'Eved Mishuchran an Ematai b'zman sheklum shavim. Avloim haya Mamzer Tamil Chacham v'Kohen Gadol Am Haaretz Mamzer Tamil Chacham kodem v'Kohen Gadol Am Haaretz. A priest precedes Levite, leader precedes Israelite, an Israelite precedes a son born of an incestuous or adulterous relationship, a mamzer, and a mamzer precedes a Gibeonite, and a Gibeonite precedes a convert, and a convert precedes an emancipated slave. What do these halachot take effect in circumstances when they are all equal in terms of wisdom? But there were a mamzer who was a Torah scholar, and a high priest who was ignoramus. A mamzer who was a Torah scholar precedes a high priest who was ignoramus, as Torah wisdom surpasses all else. That's the Mishnah, New Gemara. Okay. Kohen, Levi, Shinemar, Ubanai, bracket, Benei, Amram, Aharon, Lashem, Madel, Aharon, Akriv, parentheses, Hadisho, Kodesh, parentheses, Hadashim, brackets, Kodashim, Levi Kodem L'Yisrael Shenemar Beisahi Hivdila Hashem Shevet HaLevi Mitoch. A priest precedes Levi, as it stated, the sons of Aaron, Aaron and Moses, and Aaron was separated that he should be sanctified as the most sacred. 1 Chronicles 23:13. A Levite precedes an Israelite, as it stated, at that time the Lord separated the tribe of Levi to bear the ark of the covenant of the Lord, to stand before the Lord, to minister unto him, and to bless in his name until this day. 10:8. Deuteronomy 10:8. Israel kadem l'mamzer shezeh yuchas v'zeh yuchas. L'mamzer kadem nasin zeh b'mitipa kashera zeh b'mitipa b'sula nasin kodem l'gel zeh gadal imanu b'kedusha zeh lo gadal imanu b'kedusha. Ger kodem levet mishuchra zeh haya bichlal aro v'zeh lo haya bichlal aro. And Israel precedes a mamzer because this Israelite is a legitimate lineage, and that mamzer is not a legitimate lineage and is qualified for entering into the congregation of Israel. A mamzer precedes the Gibeonite because this mamzer comes from a fit drop of semen from Jewish parentage, and that Gibeonite comes from an unfit drop of semen, meaning from Gentile parentage. A Gibeonite precedes convert, for this Gibeonite Jew among us is in sanctity, and conducted his life as a Jew, and that convert did not grow among us in sanctity. A convert precedes an emancipated Canaanite slave, as this emancipated Canaanite slave was included in the category of the curse while he was enslaved, and that convert was not included in the category of the curse. Why? This is magical and Shavin. Kohen Gadol Shnichos L'Apnai L'Pninim Pninim Mika. Oh no, it's not it. It's not for Yishchal. It's Proverbs 3:15, not 31. Okay. It says Yekara Hi Mipninim. The Mishnah teaches why does halachot proceed and take effect in circumstances when they are all equal in terms of wisdom. The Gemara asks, from where are these matters derived? Rav Acha, son of Chanina, said, this is derived from a verse, as the verse states, she is more precious than rubies. Proverbs 3:15, the Torah is more precious than the high priest who enters the innermost sanctum. Lifnai B'Lifnim, the Holy of Holies. Tanya, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai Omer, Badin hu shiakdim eved mishuchal ger שזה גדל עמנו בקדושה וזה לא גדל עמנו בקדושה אלא זה היה בכלל ארור וזה לא היה בכלל ארור. It's not right that Rabbi Shimon Yochai says by right an emancipated slave should have preceded a convert, but because this emancipated Canaanite slave grew among us in sanctity, and that convert did not grow among us in sanctity, but the convert precedes the Canaanite slave because this Canaanite slave was in the category of the curse, and the convert was not in the category of the curse. She'el Talmid as Rabbi Elazar ben Rabbi Zadok. B'nei ma kol ratzin lisa yoires ve'ein hakol ratzin lisa meshuchreres amar lahem זה הייתה בכלל ארור, וזה לא הייתה בכלל ארור. בדבר אחר, זו הייתה בחזקת שמור, וזה לא הייתה בחזקת שמור. The students from Elazar, son of Tzadok, asked him, for what reason does everyone, do many people, run to marry a female convert, and not everyone runs to marry an emancipated Canaanite maidservant? He said to them, this Canaanite maidservant was in the category of the curse, and that convert was not in the category of the curse. Alternatively, the reason is that this convert has the presumptive status of chastity, and that Canaanite maidservant does not have the presumptive status of chastity. Okay, Shalu Talmidav as Rabbi Elazar, B'nei ma hakelev makir et kono, v'chatul eino makir et kono, amar lahem ma ha'ochel mima she'achbar ochel משגח, האוכל עכבר עצמו, על אחת כמה וכמה. As soon as Rabbi Elazar asked him, for what reason does a dog recognize his master while a cat does not recognize its master? Rabbi Elazar said to them, if it is established that with regard to one who eats from that which a mouse eats, eating that item only causes him to forget. With regard to the cat who eats the mouse himself, all the more so does the eating cause it to forget. Okay, Sha'al Talmidav as Rabbi Eliezer b'nei ma hakol moishlim ve'akbarim b'nei shesuran ra mahi amrava afilu gnime gaitzi. The students of Rabbi Eliezer asked him, for what reason do all predators dominate mice and prey on them? He said to them, because concerning mice, their inclination is evil. What is the indication of this? Rava said they gnaw even at clocks, despite the fact that clocks do not provide nourishment for the ham. To continue with 13b. Next video will be 13b.